I'm absolutely terrified. Exactly what I needed. Unhinged. I didn't understand anything. We are 8 days into the month of January and I still have not started a single one of these books that I had on my monthly TBR, so we need to play catch up. In case you missed the video going through all of the books that I have on my TBR for this month, let's go through them right now. So we have Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst, Love Letters to a Serial Killer by Tasha Coriel, You Are a Badass, and Book Club Book of the Month, which is Alchemised, and she is a chunk, so we really need to be getting on with this TBR. It's not all doom and gloom because I did just finish reading City of Smoke and Brimstone, which is the last book in the House of Devil series, but I'm not counting it as part of my TBR for this month because I started it in December, so it doesn't count for the actual like full books that I want to read in this month. So to start off this vlog, considering it is really rainy and miserable outside, I think it's only right that we start reading Alchemised together. And if I'm being honest, I am absolutely terrified to pick this book up because I have heard it is honestly gut-wrenching, it's heartbreaking, it's also a really dark fantasy, which isn't a genre that I typically read much of. So I'm very nervous for this book and I'm excited to be reading it with you guys for moral support because I think I'm gonna need it. So anyway, before we get started on this absolute chunk of a book, I'm gonna go make myself a coffee, get cozy, and then we can start. Hello, it has been about a week since I updated this vlog and I am 54% of the way through Alchemised. So let's go through my thoughts before we sit down for the rest of the evening and read it together. So I'm now obviously just over halfway through. I've read part 1 and I'm still sort of reading part 2. Thoughts on part 1 is that I spent the majority of it really confused. I didn't understand anything. Like I ended up having to actually Google like an alchemized dictionary because there were so many sort of like made up words and I didn't know what any of them meant. I don't think I could have got through part 1 without that. And even now I'm sort of like referring back to that because I can't remember everything. But now that I'm sort of like in part 2, I feel like I'm getting more of a sense of what's happening. Things are starting to get explained, which is making a lot more sense. And I kind of know sort of what's happening, what's going on. So I am enjoying this, but I still don't know how I feel about it yet. It's not that like I'm not enjoying reading it because I am. I just don't know if I'm enjoying it that much. And I feel like that's a little bit of an unpopular opinion because so many people have rated this like 6 stars, 5 stars, and I don't even know where I would put it right now on the scale, but I'm only 50% of the way through. It could all change in the last sort of 50%. So I'm looking forward to seeing how I feel at the end of the book. I still predict that I will rate it 5 stars just because so many other people that I have like a similar book taste have rated it 5 stars, but we'll see if I actually rate it 5 stars by the end of reading it. I'm actually going to sit down and read now for a good couple of hours. It's Sunday evening and there hasn't been much time for me this week to actually just sit and read. So I'm really looking forward to getting cozy on the sofa and making a really big dent into Alchemised. So let's go make a hot drink and get comfy and read. Right, I've got myself my chai tea latte in my bookish mug, which is my favourite mug that I won in a giveaway once. And I'm currently on page 561. Somehow, again, I've left myself in the middle of a chapter. I don't know why I do this and I confuse myself every single time, but it's fine. Let's see how much we can actually get rid of this tonight. So we're starting on page 561, 54% of the way in. Let's lock in, get comfy and read. Okay, I have been reading for a few hours. Also, apologies that the lighting situation is not great. It's very dark outside and the lighting in our flat isn't the best. But anyway, I have been reading for a little while and I've made it to page 591. I've made a little bit of a dent in the book and I have to say, like, I can't work out if the main character Ferren, Kane Ferren, I can't work out if he's good or bad. We are literally nearly 600 pages into this book and I am still not sure if he's a good person, a bad person. We've kind of got a little bit more background now onto his sort of like background and his like history. It's kind of explaining something. So like now we know why he's doing this one thing that he's doing that I can't say because I don't want to spoil it. I can't work out if he's good or bad. And it's freaking me out. He's a very hot and cold character, I have to say. But I do really like the main character, Helena. I think she's very sweet. I feel very sorry for her because she's had a very hard life and it doesn't seem like it's getting much easier, to be honest. Anyway, I am going to take my makeup off now and sort of get into my pajamas. I'm still going to do some more reading this evening. I think it would be really good to get a little bit further in because I'm still only 57% of the way through the book. I mean, there's over 1,000 pages. So I still have like 400-ish pages left to read. And I do want to finish it this week. So then I can start another book that's on my January TBR because it's concerning me that it's the 18th. And so far, I haven't even finished one book that's on my TBR. So it'd be really good to get this one finished. And I think after, I'm going to need something quick, something light after reading something so heavy and dark. And it's been taking me ages. Do you know what? It's just taking a lot of brain power for me to like get into the book because every time I like jump back into the story, I have to like remind myself like what's going on. And because it's such a huge book, it just leaves like gaps in my memory of what's happened before and how we've got to like where we are. But anyway, enough rambling. I'm going to go take my makeup off and get cozy now. Hello, good morning. I thought we could discuss my thoughts of Alchemised while I'm getting ready for work. So I'm not yet finished. I'm 91% of the way through the book and my Kindle says I've got about an hour and 40 minutes left to read. So I'm really hoping that I can get this book finished today because if I'm being completely honest with you, and this may seem a little bit controversial or maybe like a bit of an unpopular opinion, but I'm not as emotionally invested in it as I really thought I would be. Like I've seen people like literally in tears over the book, devouring it, loving it, obsessing with it. And I don't really feel any of those things. And I think that the reason for that is because I just spent so long of the book like not knowing what's going on. And even now I'm 91% of the way through and there's still things where I'm like, I don't know if I'm just not remembering that or if that's not been explained. And I think that's what I struggle with like really long books. I mean, this book is over 1,000 pages and I struggle with books that long because I end up just like forgetting what's going on or like what happened at the beginning of the book. But I will say I do think it has been like really cleverly written. I liked that part one. If you don't want to hear anything about the book right now, skip ahead. But if you're happy to hear a little bit of something, it's not really a spoiler, then continue watching. But I do like how part one was kind of like her waking up, not knowing what was going on. And then she obviously like doesn't remember anything. So she's got to like, I'm pretty sure this is on the back as well, so it's not really a spoiler. She has to try and work backwards to try and find out how she got there and what happened. And then part two kind of goes back in time and you see how she got to where she is. I think that part of the book I actually enjoyed the most because you got some semblance of like what is going on and you kind of start to understand the story a little bit more. But I would say that, I don't know, I just feel like I still feel a bit confused. And there's so many terms that I don't know what any of them mean. And I think because the book is so long, now that I'm sort of like on part three, I'm near the end, I just feel like I'm losing interest a little bit. And I just feel like I've been reading it for way too long and I kind of just want it to be over now so I can read something else. It's definitely a very heavy book. Like it's not been an easy read by any means. And I wouldn't say I've been having fun reading it either because it's really quite dark. There's literally been some scenes where I've like cringed and like had to like almost like push my Kindle away because I'm like, I don't really want to read about this. Like it feels a bit gross. And maybe it's just a bit much for me. I mean, I know that particularly I'm not really a dark fantasy or like a dark romance reader. It's not really my like genre, but I do think that it's good to branch out sometimes. So I'm glad that I've read it or I'm reading it. I think I'm definitely going to finish it. I'm hoping that I'll be able to finish it today because an hour and 40 minutes, I should be able to get at least near the end by the end of today, I think. And then after that, we can pick something else to read that's hopefully a little bit less intense. But yeah, those are my thoughts anyway on the book so far. Let me know if you've read it and what your thoughts were. I was just reading, and one of the questions that I wasn't sure what was going on has just been answered. And I think that was me not piecing things together. I don't think that it was intentional for us to, I don't know actually. No, I think that was me just not piecing things together properly and not thinking about it properly, because he's just said something and it's just clicked in my head that I'm like, oh, that's who they're talking about. That's who they're looking for. Right, I get it now. So that's kind of cleared something up for me, which I'm kind of glad, because I don't want to be like going into like the dead end of this book feeling really confused about what is going on. And I genuinely think it's just me. Anyway, I've still got 45 minutes before I need to go to work, and I've got ready really quickly. So I'm going to sit and read more of this before we go, and then I'll give you a little update before I leave to let you know where I've got up to. Okay, I need to get ready to leave now, and I can feel that we're getting to the point where it's going to end. I'm on page 966, and according to my Kindle, it's going to take me an hour and 9 minutes to read. What I'm going to do is I've actually decided on the next book we're going to be reading in this vlog. I really need something that's light, that's maybe just not dark stuff, that's maybe not so miserable as Alchemised. And one of the books on my TBR that I think fits into that category is The Spell Shop. So this is a fantasy book, but it's a very cozy fantasy book. I just want something cozy and easy to read. And literally at the top of this book, it says a peaceful delight. That's exactly what I need after reading something like Alchemised. So I don't know if I'll finish it while I'm at work, while I'm on my break or something, or like on my commute home. So I'm going to take this with me to work just in case, so we can start it while I'm out and about. And then I will give you an update when I've sort of got through a little bit of this book and we can talk about it. But I'm really very much looking forward to reading something that doesn't make me feel sick or make me feel sad, or that just isn't so heavy. So yeah, I'm very excited to start reading The Spell Shop. I've heard very good things about it. I've heard it's very cute, and I think that's something that I need right now, to be honest. Hello, it's been a few days since we last caught up. I did in fact finish Alchemised. I have a few thoughts. In the end, I wasn't sure what I was going to rate this book, because I did enjoy it, but it just didn't feel 5 stars to me. I like to rate my books based off of feelings, and if it gives me a 5-star feeling, I'll rate it 5 stars. However, Alchemised just didn't. And even though I did enjoy reading it, it was also kind of sad, and I found it quite hard to read in places. I also think because of the sheer length of the book, I was just getting so confused. There's a lot of world building in the book. I then found it quite hard to remember all of the terminology and what was going on. For that reason, I rated Alchemised a healthy 4.75 stars. Now, I think that's still really high, because I do think that the writing deserves a good rating. And then obviously we then did move on to The Spell Shop, and this has been exactly what I needed after reading something so heavy and dark and twisted. This is just very light-hearted. It's so wholesome, easy to read, it's easy to understand, and I absolutely love the main characters. I think they are adorable. I'm about, I don't even know, not quite 50% of the way through, but also like not that far off. I'm feeling a little bit worse for wear because I went out last night with one of my friends. So today I plan to literally stay home and read the whole day, and I'm so excited that I'm going to have so much time to get through this book. So let's just get cozy and read together. I'm going to go set myself up in the sofa on the living room, and I'm going to stay there the whole entire day. Okay, so I have been reading for a good few hours, and I'm now on chapter 27 and page 272 of The Spell Shop. I have been reading it on my Kindle as well, because it's on Kindle Unlimited, which I absolutely love it when my physical books are also on Kindle Unlimited, because it just makes it so much easier to read. I'm still really enjoying this. It just feels really wholesome, and it's just so cozy and like good to read on like a day when you're not feeling that great and you just want something quite comforting. I'm going to try and finish the rest of the book today, because I don't have that much left. Like I think it's like just over 100 pages. Let's have a look at my Kindle and see how long. So according to my Kindle, I've still got an hour and 56 minutes left of the book, and it's only 10 to 3, so I can definitely finish this book today. I actually forgot to mention as well that I started listening to the audiobook of Love Letters to a Serial Killer, and so far I'm really enjoying it. I'm really not that far in. I just thought it would be the easiest way to get through my January TBR, because it was quite ambitious. Those are my updates. I'm going to settle back in, read more of this, and I'll check back in. Hopefully we can finish it together. So it's been a few days since we last caught up, so we need to go through the books that I have been reading. Obviously, in the last clips, you saw me reading The Spell Shop. I have now finished this book. It only took me a couple of days to read because it was just so easy, and I think it was everything that I needed. I rated it 4 stars, and I would highly recommend it if you need something that's quite comforting. I touched on it briefly, but I was listening to the audiobook of Love Letters to a Serial Killer. Once I finished The Spell Shop, I did start picking up the book as well, so I finished this really quickly. This was just weird. Like, I did rate it 3 stars because I did think it was quite addicting and it was so easy to read, but the main character in this is actually unhinged. She was just so strange, and I did not understand her life choices or what she was doing at all. Like, I just thought she was so strange, but it was a really interesting read, and yeah, it's done now. It was a quick one. It wasn't a long one at all. I think it was very entertaining, so I did rate that one 3 stars. And then this morning, I have unfortunately steered off from the January TBR, and I did pick up Game Changers by Rachel Reed. So this is the first book in the Heated Rivalry series, which just came out on Netflix. So everyone has been talking about this, and I've been having huge FOMO over this book because I've been really wanting to read it before I watched the TV show. So I picked it up this morning, and straight away, it is so cute. Like, I'm already having a really good time. It is literally just a hockey romance, which I think is everything that I need. I do think that Alchemised has maybe put me in a little bit of a fantasy slump. Like, I just don't feel like I want to read anything in that genre. The last 2 books that I had on my January TBR was Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo, and that is like a fantasy. I don't want to force myself to read it when I'm not really in the mood for something like that, because I think I'm going to absolutely love that book. And I still can't decide if I want to read the Shadow and Bone books first before Six of Crows. So if you've read all of the books, please let me know if it's worth reading Shadow and Bone, and like, I think it's 3 books in that series and then Six of Crows after. I do have the first book on my Kindle, so I probably should just read it. And then the last book that's on my January TBR is You Are a Badass. So I think I might try and pick that up and have that as like my physical book, and then have Game Changer as my Kindle book, because I do like to have a couple of books on at a time. Anyway, there's my updates. I have to go to work now, so I'm going to do a little bit more reading before I go to work, but I just wanted to update you on where I was at. I don't know if you can tell, but I unfortunately came down with that really bad illness that's been going around, so that's why there's been no more book updates. However, I did in fact finish Game Changers, and I absolutely loved it. I rated it 4 stars. I didn't realise I was into hockey romance until I read this book, so I will 100% be continuing on with the series, but it's basically the end of the month now, so thank you so much for reading my January TBR with me. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye!